Hey everyone, welcome to the Kadence live stream about the full bundle. We had a sale last week. If you were here for the live stream that happened last Thursday, you saw Ben demo ShopKit 2.0, the most powerful tool available for, gosh, I have my YouTube up on the other window watching it and it just blasted me. We're so ready, aren't we? We had some technical difficulties when we started, and they're coming along with us.
We need to reset like a reaction button. Can we do that?
We can totally do that. Yeah. So last week we had so much fun, and it was so great to see the community just get really engaged with ShopKit and all of the powerful features that are going to be added to WooCommerce to be able to build out these product pages in the way that makes sense for your brand, for your products, for your customers, rather than the standard WooCommerce pages, which, are kind of nice anyway. But it was so great to see everybody get excited. We had so many people come in with that stellar sale, purchasing the full bundle, wanting to get started with everything that Kadence offers. As I saw these orders coming in, the first primary thing that was in my heart, and I think it was in both Ben and Hannah's drive as well, is to really help everybody get the most out of this. We're so excited to have all of these new users joining the Kadence community, and we want to make sure that you fully understand all of the features that are available in the full bundle and get the most out of them. As a WordPress user like you, I've been using paid plugins for forever. And the worst thing I've ever had is like I buy something and I have things on my site right now where I don't fully know if I'm getting full benefit from them because I never really got that jump start into using those products. I want to prevent that for you. Ben and Hannah are here to help me make sure that that doesn't happen, because Ben has created, and well, the entire Kadence team has created a great solution here for doing all kinds of things with WordPress, not just WooCommerce, but definitely that is there as well. So that's what we're here to do today. We're going to talk about all of the great benefits that exist within the Kadence Full Bundle. Kind of give you a little bit of a differentiation if you did buy the full bundle, what you got versus the Essentials bundle, and really start giving you sort of just this high-level overview of everything that's there. So I'm going to hand it over to Ben, and he's going to talk about basically everything that goes into these bundles, and take it away, Ben.
Yeah, great. Do you want to screen share for me? Throw up my screen?
Yeah, we'll do.
So, what Kadence is essentially, and what we're, endeavoring to be as we go forward, is your tool set for building and designing your websites. So we're primarily focused on front end features and giving you the tools to create whatever you want and as quickly and as easily as we can. And so that continues to be at the forefront of our mind. How do we make this better? How do we make websites for you that you create easier, but then those sites to be better? So performance and things like that. And so once you're in with Kadence, the obvious place to start is the Kadence theme. And, we have definitely give you everything for free and then also, add on that. So there's a lot of things in free that we can talk about, but just primarily with Pro, even our website is a decent example of things that come from Pro that we're using, like the account button having, these just much more interesting menus. This is built with Kadence Pro. It's not like we're doing something crazy with CSS or anything like that. There's tools in there where you can do this without having to, do any kind of CSS work. And so that kind of added thing where your menus get better, the items that are in your header can be just a lot cooler. And that's kind of what some of the features are. It's about making your website better, making it more user-friendly for your users, and making certain things stand out. So even this carousel is a Pro feature in Kadence Blocks Pro. But if we look at what's in the bundle, you're primarily looking at the Pro theme, and your key features in that are going to be the ability to use elements, which allows you to create custom templates, allows you to hook any kind of content anywhere into your site. Again, we'll use our site as an example. you know, there's elements being used here. We'll jump over at ShopKit, for example. This entire footer is an element that we're replacing the existing footer, and we're building that in Gutenberg. And so things like that can be easily done using elements and switching out templates in starter templates. You know, Kathy did this where all of these custom post types are built with a template using elements, and that's a pro feature for the theme. So when you're looking at the full bundle, you're looking at, okay, I got to get my theme, and you're probably going to start in a starter template because you're going to want to see, you know, like that's generally just a great place to start. I get to out of sight, and I immediately get to see how things are done on the back end. And Pro does give you some benefits there as well. If you're the Pro bundle, you get some Pro starter templates that aren't available in free. And part of that is because we use Pro features in those starter templates. But as you get into the theme, then you're going to be looking at, okay, the theme adds things like makes my header better, allows me to use elements. There's other things which we can go over. I think Hannah might even do some demo on that. But then you're going to look at blocks. It's another key part of the Kadence thing. This is where you're designing all your content inside of the WordPress block editor. And there you're able to basically create a whole lot of stuff. Pro is going to take a few things to that extra level, especially in the realm of dynamic content. But we do have like Pro blocks. And this is like, in my mind, where most of the future is going to be for Kadence. Is we're going to take your block experience just always further, always pushing the limits. But like what you can do right now is create really dynamic content that's super fast and loads really fast. So custom icons is cool. Dynamic content, the access to the premium design library, animate on scroll, things like that are all going to come from your Pro, plus a lot of Pro blocks, like blocks we were looking at earlier with the carousel block. And then as you take that, and that's essentially the essential bundle, now we're going to look at like what comes in the full bundle. Essentially, you're going to see a whole lot of products. And that doesn't mean just install every single one of them, because as you get further into this, it's more about what you need. And so products like ShopKit, which is extremely powerful WooCommerce extension. If you're not building an online store, you don't need to install ShopKit. And that's kind of how you should approach all of the kind of plugins. Once you get that core of Kadence theme, Kadence blocks in, it's like, okay, the rest of these are definitely optional and definitely more site specific. There are some ones that like I would generally suggest using, like reCAPTCHA. I mean, if you're dealing with spam in your comments and things like that, it's just such an easy way to get rid of that. It also adds the login security and things like that. But you might have a different solution for that, and that's fine. So don't install both. Like if you're doing something else, you don't need to install just because it's a product that's there. I think you're going to find a lot of value as you look at like just even like one of these adding on. But then when you start to put them all together, it really adds a big benefit to your site. So another big one is conversions. This is, again, like this is a product that really applies to anybody's website. You can use it. Everyone should be using some kind of convert tool on their website. But don't just install it and not like plan for things. Like with all of this, you want to make a plan for like, okay, I'm to the point where like, I know I have my website up. I want to work on how do I do engagement? How do I add pop-ups and slide-ins and push users into certain places on my website, or offer them things so that I can get their email and convert there that way. So Kadence Conversions is a really, really powerful tool. Again, you're going to get the lightweight benefits of using the block editor, very performance minded. You're not using any big libraries to run this stuff, but you get pop-ups and slide-ins that allow you to convert your users into subscribers or into customers, depending on what your site is for. So definitely a powerful tool. And then you've got a lot of these potentially, more niche sided products. Kadence Cloud, if you only have one website, it's probably not going to be the tool that is going to rock your world. But if you are managing multiple websites, it can be a really powerful tool and give you a lot of like easy implementation to use sections across websites that you've designed and you've got it how you want it looking, and you can just drop it in. We might get to a little demo of this, but obviously you can browse our site and check out this stuff. And then I just want to quickly run through some of these other products. Galleries, this is primarily if you need an album first gallery. So like if you just need an image gallery, use Kadence blocks, drop in an image gallery. If you need to be able to have albums that are organized that way, where you're just like, I have all of these photos in a gallery and they're part of this album, and I've got 10 albums, and you need a much more advanced structure for your galleries, and you're going to show them that way. You're going to show a grid of albums that open up into galleries, and then those albums have 10 galleries inside, and then those galleries have 20 images inside. That's what we're talking about. Definitely, that's a solution for that. It's not just like if you need a gallery, it's definitely a solution for if you need something more specific to building out like a photography site and things like that. Simple Share is a very simple and easy way to share, add sharing icons to your posts and pages. Custom fonts allows you to upload any custom font that you have. You've got reading time, which gives you that little, like, this post, takes 1 minute to read. Related content, which allows you to customize what's related on a post by post basis. So you can say like, hey, this post is talking about this product, so I want to make sure that gets related, and then it'll show in a carousel. And then we have a lot of classic plugins and even some classic themes. That's not to say you can't use these. They certainly do get updated and stuff. But in general, as we move forward in the web, when you're doing new sites, you're not going to need these, partly because of blocks and partly because just the future of the web. So, we have some tools for some page builders. We have some tools for AMP, which, the future of AMP is definitely up in the air. Some different sliding options, page transitions, which is like a very cool niche experience, but not like, it's not for everyone. And then things like pricing tables, which again, using blocks, that's going to be your way to go as you go forward. So that's kind of an overview, obviously. And we have some classic themes as well, which again, same caveat, like we're supporting them because we have a lot of users on them, but going forward, not going to be what you want to use. At this point, you're going to use the Kadence theme and build out. So hopefully that's a good, quick overview of everything. Kathy,
yeah.
How am I doing?
You're doing great. I have a couple of questions. First of all, just on AMP, that's a Google project that's going away, just for clarification. It's kind of nebulous of whether or not that's going to be around. Is that your understanding?
Yeah, AMP has gotten into a lot of trouble for how Google has used it and ads. So they're dealing with some lawsuit stuff. The future of AMP as a way to optimize your site for mobile, I think, is a little bit up in the air. They've done a lot of testing, and basically, if you optimize your site well, you can create a site that's just as fast as AMP. That, with the caveat of like you're doing a lot of optimization there and you're making sure that your content is really, really clean. On a website where your content is not very, very clean and you want to have an AMP version of your content, then that can be a great solution using an AMP plugin. And how Google is going to use it in the future in their search engine results is, I would say, it's just not super clear because the project has taken a lot of heat for basically saying it was going to do one thing and definitely not in terms of,
Right.
If you want to get into all the stuff on it. So
Right.
It's, again, I would say in general, it depends on what you're doing with your website, but I would say in general, you don't need it at this point.
Right. Philosophically speaking, I mean, one of the great things about the web is that you are making connections between your business and your customer, and AMP kind of like was in between that. So I think long range in terms of like what you want to do as a web developer or as someone who owns a site and is trying to connect more better with your customers more directly, that's really the promise of the web. And so there was some thought in the past that this was going to help with SEO and all of this, and it was going to be more performant and everything. But philosophically speaking, it is sort of an interruption in that connection. So I'm kind of happy to see it go away. But back to Kadence, let's talk about what's the first thing someone should do when you just bought the full bundle. What is the first thing that you should do? Obviously, you probably get your licenses up, and what are the first must-have plugins that someone should install?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your website, but definitely jumping in with a starter template is easy because then it's going to automatically install those first couple plugins that you need. If you're going to do a pro starter template, you'll need to go ahead and install and activate Kadence Pro and Kadence Blocks Pro. And that's just, add new, upload. So I would say that the main things is Kadence theme and then Kadence Pro add-on for the theme, and then Kadence Blocks and Kadence Blocks Pro. Once you get that base in, then it's a matter of like, okay, do I need conversions? Am I going to use Kadence Cloud? Am I going to look at using WooCommerce and thus ShopKit, and what modules do I want to enable in that? And then do I want to look at using reCAPTCHA? A lot of that stuff is so easy to add later on. It's more about like getting started with a starter template that you want to figure out.
Right. And that's the one thing that you really need to make a high level decision about is which starter template you're going to use. It's not, starter templates aren't something that it's like, I have an existing site and I'm going to convert over to Kadence. Let's put a starter template on the site that's already been in existence for 5 years. That is something that someone probably that route they shouldn't go.
Yeah, but I mean, it's worth talking about real quick. If you are going to convert a site over and you do want to use content from a starter template, you don't want to use the starter template plugin because that's about installing on a brand new fresh site. But we do have an option inside of our design library for Kadence Blocks where you can drop in those pages into an existing website without affecting all your other content and anything like that. So you can get those designs from a starter template without going through the process of like a brand new fresh install. You can just go and say, I want that homepage on that starter template. Our design library has that, and you can just drop that in. So there is some ways to, merge over into on an existing site.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful. That really gives a high level way of someone really kind of planning out what they're going to do when they're getting started with Kadence. Hannah, do you want to give us sort of an overview of some of once somebody has their license installed and once they've got all of the pro plugins installed, what are some of the key features that you think are, the bomb that we should really definitely start using?
Sure. Yeah, I have a lot of people come to me in support, and they're wanting to make a customization that they've seen on the starter template or they've seen in a demo, and they're like, I don't have this option. And it seems basic, but you actually need to enable a lot of these options. So if you want to share my screen, Kathy, I can show how to do that. So just from your dashboard, you'll come to Kadence here. And then here you have all your pro add-ons. So these actually need to be turned on in order to use them. So I'll go over just the header add-on because I think it's so awesome. It adds 19 elements to the header builder, which I think is just super fun. So here is the header builder without the add-ons. It's pretty basic, but obviously still allows you to, just drag and drop your header elements. But if you enable the add-on and then just refresh, see how fast my site loads. Then you have all these options, which is awesome. And then you have, all these different design things you can make with the transparent header, and just really gives you so much freedom and flexibility. And these are all options that you have to turn on. So that's just the header, or those are just the header add-ons. And then there's all these other add-ons that you can either choose to use or not use, but just depending on what you need.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. One thing I thought was pretty cool is this conditional headers that someone would be able to swap out headers based on a number of different conditions. But
Totally.
there's so much there. There's when you once it's kind of
Yeah.
like going from, Dorothy in Kansas, and then all of a sudden, the color
Yeah.
all comes into her life and she's in Kansas, and there's, not Oompa Loompas. What were they? Like the Lollipop Guild and witches too. But no, there's no witches in Kadence. There's only fun things. And you really come into this new world of seeing all of these new features that really unlock the power of what Gutenberg and what WordPress can do for you when you're building a site.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. And then there's some other things that get added. So if you have been a Kadence user for a while, like there's the form block and there's, the advanced image block and things like that. But the Kadence, when you do go pro, it unlocks some various features like there was animate on scroll, and then there's some more features.
Yeah. So these are all Kadence blocks.
Yeah.
Kadence blocks pro features. So yeah, there's a lot that it adds. Obviously with Kadence Blocks Pro, you're getting more premium blocks like the image overlay block, the product carousel block, the advanced gallery block, all these that are just premium blocks themselves. But then even some of our free blocks, there's pro features added. And the form block is one of those. And then there's also pro features that are added to Kadence blocks in general, like animate on scroll, like you mentioned, Kathy. So I can, if you want to go back to my screen, just show what that looks like. Here, I love the animate on scroll. I think it's so beautiful. Oh, I think I just botched. This is where am I? Just this fade up here. I think it's so pretty. It adds such a sweet look to your site. And that's something that's only offered in Pro. So you can enable it by clicking on the block. This is a section block. And then here, you'll see the option to add it. You can add your animation, and then you can choose your ease, your duration, delay. All of these are custom set. And I just think that's such a sweet feature that's added. The form block is, go ahead.
Just on animate and scroll, it's in so many different blocks too. It's not just
the
section
totally.
block.
Totally.
Yeah.
Ben, which blocks is it in? It's in quite a few. Do you know which ones? Oh, you're muted. Ben.
Sorry, yeah. Most of the blocks have them, and there's some cool things in some of them, like the reveal in your advanced text block is super cool to play around with. I would definitely suggest trying that out. It's makes the text look like it's appearing out of nowhere. Like it's
so cool.
A hidden thing. So there's some cool stuff you can do. And some of the blocks will have even different settings based on what the block is. But you're primarily going to be looking at doing like sections and things like that. But like the text, the buttons, those can have animate as well.
Yeah. So one other thing that Kadence Blocks Pro adds is to the form block, which I think I had one up, but before this show, I lost all of my site was totally down. Everything was totally down. So I've lost everything. Let's just create a form block really quick.
We're doing it live.
I know. It's no problem. So you have all these options, these email settings. So you can add, this is not the right email settings that I want.
You want to do actions after submit there, I think, probably.
Yeah. Here. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah.
So you can auto respond emails, and then you can also subscribe your form, people who submit in your form, and they can subscribe to all these platforms, which is something that's only added in Pro. And is super useful and awesome. And you can add redirects and all that. So that's a pro feature. That's super great. The form block is huge. If you want to add to that, Ben, feel free. You can always bet in.
Yeah, no, I
demoing your products.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is a really powerful tool and definitely one that you want to use. There's almost every website, one of the things that you have to go do is install a form plugin to do contact forms and things like that.
Totally.
And this will take that away, and it's not going to use, heavy JavaScript to make it run. It's using vanilla JavaScript and things like that. So it's going to be fast and allow you to do a lot. This is an exciting part of Kadence blocks. Do animations require jQuery? They do not. Those are CSS driven with a little bit of JavaScript that triggers on scroll when the item appears in the browser window.
Good to know. I figured that was all in the JavaScript question. So
yeah.
Cool. And we're adding additional, there's a number of integrations to mailing services that we already have, but we are planning additional integrations, I believe.
Yeah, more. I mean, just to clarify, you can use a webhook. Almost every platform out there accepts input from a webhook, but the next two, which one of our devs we're literally working on this week, was ConvertKit and ActiveCampaign. So those will be some of the next two that come into the form block.
I know a lot of people who are going to be very happy about that ConvertKit integration and ActiveCampaign as well. So that is super, super exciting. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to show with the form block or?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say there's other features from Gallery. There's some stuff, but like one thing that's cool, and I think it's cool, is you can do evergreen countdowns using our countdown block when you have Pro installed. And basically that allows you to show a countdown that is unique to the user that hit that site. So if you're doing, some marketing things where it's like, for any new user that comes to your site, you want to show them a countdown of like, hey, get a discount if you order within the next hour. You can have that countdown affect just that user, and then the next user that comes to the site, they're going to have a different one. Just how an evergreen works. It's a cool feature. There's a lot of cool things you can do with evergreen countdowns.
Excellent. Great. Okay, cool. All right. We should keep things moving. Hannah, is there anything else you wanted to kind of give us an overview?
I'm super happy to. If you want me to go over just one of the blocks.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. So one of my favorite blocks that comes only with Pro is the post-grid carousel block. I love it because I love pretty things, and I feel like this block is awesome at making your posts look just stunning on your website, and it gives so much freedom and flexibility for how your posts can look. So you can choose any of your custom post types will go here. So if you have portfolios or galleries, or you've created custom post types, they'll all be here, and you can choose any of them. And then you just have tons of options. I won't go over all of them, but you can enable pagination, which is a sweet feature. You can choose only to show certain categories which is like, these are obvious things. But then you have all these layout settings. So if you want a masonry or a carousel, sorry, I'm going too quickly, then you can add these here, which is I just think it's so pretty. And then you can adjust the post container. You can you have everything. Every single piece is like customizable, which is sweet. So you can adjust the heading, the padding, the content, like margins on either side, up, down, all of this is totally customizable. Footer settings. So if you want to add meta information to your footer, you can. If you want to add a border, you can. And then your image, you can choose to move your image to the left, which obviously I need to adjust the layout if I were to do that. And then you can choose your landscape, your ratio, and then enable categories to show. Basically, I'm just going through, I just think these can look so pretty, and it's such a fun way to display your post on your site. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. And then another sweet part is that you can enable a custom excerpt. choose how many words you want. And then you can also adjust the read more and adjust the text here. So if you want to say something different, and you can just change that right there. Ooh. Oh.
Excellent.
Ben, anything else you want to add to that?
You're doing great.
Great.
Excellent. And I'm gonna anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, I'm going to use that as a segue into the fact that the post grid carousel is awesome when you're using dynamic content. And I want to talk about dynamic content. I am a geek when it comes to dynamic content. It is the fun way to build a website, in my opinion. The fact that, I mean, one of the reasons why I loved WordPress to begin with is that you could quite easily have all of your content, all of your blog posts in a database, and you could theme it, and all the design was someplace else, right? So that was the beauty of it, because when you had just HTML files and you had to go apply a new design, it's like, I have to open up all of these files. Are you serious? No, that's not the way to do things. Dynamic content opens that up even further. You can create a database of anything, your staff members. You can put, Ben did a great example on an iThemes training where he showed how a sponsor listing was done with dynamic content. And there is another video here on our YouTube channel where I showcase how to do it with kitty cats, where you can actually have adoptable cats in a database. And I'm going to give you kind of a quick overview of how that all works. And I'm going to share my screen, and I won't be able to see StreamYard for just a moment, but I'm going to show you what happens with creating some dynamic content. This will be a very high level overview, and it might be a little bit fast, but there is another video on our site that goes much slower. So first thing you'll want to do is you'll want to go into Kadence, and you'll want to turn this hooked elements on. Once you do that, you open up a world of possibilities with dynamic content. There are a couple of other plugins that you can get for free. One is called CPT UI, and you can set up a post type, basically a database for anything. I set it up on Sally's cat blog here using favorite cats, and then Sally got excited about her favorite cats and was like, I'm going to adopt them all out from every shelter. And we went even further. I'm Sally, my alter ego, just playing around with that. And then advanced custom fields has been around for a very long time. Very powerful way to set up basically a database. And so we set up these custom fields with a cat name, adoption link, some cat photos, a background image, because we wanted to play with some dynamic background images so that each cat could have their own background, a bio, and we use the WYSIWYG editor with that. And then some other fields here. And then once we registered that custom post type, the favorite cats showed up here, and we could just go add a new cat. But let's take a look at some of the content that we had in here. Just basically the cat name, the cat photo, a background image, the bio. Again, the WYSIWYG editor kind of looks like old school WordPress, where we are able to then add some visual editing here. So we can bold things, we can italicize things. So it opens up a little bit of HTML, but it's still like, if you're building sites for other people and you don't want them to get into Gutenberg, you don't want them to be messing with the design, you want them to just give you the data. Say, for example, you have a staff listing and Jane in the front office is in charge of the staff, and you want to make sure that the content entry is done as close to the place where those changes take place, so that your web development team isn't having to do all of that content. It makes sense to do something with dynamic content so that Jane can enter in all of this information, but the web development team can control how it looks. And that is done with Kadence Elements and Kadence Elements templating. So here we have our favorite cat template. And basically, it just looks like we are building out one specific page. We went into the preview settings, and when we chose one of the kittens, that we could use as sort of our model, so we could see how things were working once we were in Kadence Elements templating, setting up the template. So we have, say 100 cats, but we have one specific page that's going to be dynamic that allows us to lay all of this out. And we're just going to use this one clever kitten as our example. We could switch it out to another one, but I didn't test those. And I know this is live, so we're not going to do that. Anyway, we've got this dynamic area set up, and it's just Gutenberg. It's just Kadence blocks. It's so easy to do. And here on our row layout, we actually have, I think it's on the row layout where I set up our dynamic background. And our background overlay. Yes, that's where we set it up. So we set this up using a background image. We clicked on our dynamic background image, and then we were able to go in, find our post custom field, and find that background image that was dynamic, specific for that particular cat. And we are able to do all of this dynamically. So each cat gets its own background. Then another thing that I wanted to mention is just the power of conditional display. Let's say, for example, Sally's just listing her favorite cats, but there's only a few of them that have an adoption link. We used conditional display to show this button. So over here on that button, we have conditional display. We just enable that. And then we basically say, if there is an adoption link, we're going to show that. If it's not, empty. So if we go back to the actual site and we look at some of our favorite cats and we want to just view them, we see, our clever kitten's got her adoption link, but we have one down here that does not have that link. And so that button doesn't show up. Just some of the powerful features that Kadence Pro opens up for you. This dynamic templating is just incredibly powerful. And did I miss anything fun, Ben? Anything I should have mentioned with dynamic content or Kadence Elements templates?
No, I think that's the key thing. I would just mention that like templates can be set dynamically as well. So while all your content can be dynamic, actually when that template applies can also be dynamic, which is cool. So you can create some really unique stuff. I mean, there's if you want to get into some really advanced dealing with data and showing content in different ways based on all these different conditionals, it's all there for you, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Definitely. That's so cool. There's so much there. I mean, we're just giving you a high level overview. The dynamic templating is the thing that I enjoy the most because there's so much you can do with it, but you can add dynamic content that shows up just in different places on your site. So many powerful things that you can do. And we see a lot of those things inherited over into ShopKit, which is really exciting as well. And taking dynamic things even a little bit further, Ben, can you talk a little bit about Kadence Cloud and ideas when people might want to use that?
Yeah. So if you're building multiple websites for people or yourself and you want to manage a library of elements that you want to be able to drop in whenever you need it, Kadence Cloud is a great solution. If you want to sell bunch, this is one that a lot of people are using as well. Like if you want to have a library that you either give out for free or sell, like maybe you're a content writer and you want to promote how you do some of your content, like there's a lot of cool ways you can do it. If you want to throw up my screen really quick, this is in the block editor, and this is the Kadence design library, and here you've got some built-in stuff, and these are our clouds. Essentially, we're using the same stuff. So this is just a sections cloud where we've created some sections that you can drop in. We've got a wireframe one that you can pick, and these are a little bit less styled. It's more about laying out content. And so once you pick one, you can drop it in, and then you get to roll with that design. Well, if you wanted to do that with your own content, you can. And how that looks, this is actually the Kadence Blocks wireframe library. This is our backend. This is what we see when we're editing these and building them. But essentially you get a cloud library custom post type, and you can add to that by creating a new item. And then from there, editing it, you can rebuild or generate the thumbnails. That's just the featured image for the post. And then once that's saved, it will show up. So I don't know if I want to live edit any of this, but essentially you're just building sections out. And what's great about the way that Gutenberg works is if you build it in a site and you're like, ooh, I should put that in my cloud so I have it later, you can copy that section, just, your normal copy and paste tools, and then come here to your library and add a new element and paste it in. And then you would have that section in your library going forward. And dropping it in is as easy as jumping into the design library and dropping it in. So whenever you want to add a new section, you like your custom cloud, or maybe you were using one from one that you got access to, you just drop in the URL and access key and then add the connection, and you have access to the cloud. So it's a really cool way to just build a library of designs that you want to use more of. You're like, I really like this layout. I've got it all set up for mobile and everything's good. I'm going to drop that in to different sites. It's an easy way to do that. Or if you want to, you're a designer and you want to build a bunch of items and then sell access to your library, you can totally do that with Kadence Cloud.
That is so exciting to me. And I'm starting to see some of the Kadence community doing things like that. Jake from Start Blogging is doing so many cool things. He actually took one of our ideas with the whole link tree replacement, and he just announced in the Kadence community this morning over on Facebook. And if you're not part of the Kadence community on Facebook, you really should be there, because that's where you're seeing all of the latest and greatest innovations happening in the Kadence community get posted there, and you get so many great ideas. But Jake just posted that he is now doing the link tree replacements as a part of what his offering is. So he's taking Kadence Cloud, he's taking some of our ideas and layering his creativity on it and offering it to his community and building a business from that. And I think that is just incredibly powerful. So I can't wait to see what other people are going to do with everything that Kadence offers. And I'm just going to, I'm the marketing person, so I get to be bold and say things like this. There is a movement in WordPress. There is a movement of people changing WordPress, bringing creativity into all of this. And I just am so excited to see all of it. The way that Ben kind of designs all of these products really opens up this new avenue of creativity and changes the way people have been using old tools and doing new and innovative things. And I'm the lucky one that gets to tell that story. Well, Hannah's the lucky one now too.
I'll tell it with you.
You get to tell it with me, and that is so exciting to me as well. So we're having a great time. Hannah, you've been kind of like one of the faces of Kadence to the community, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about just high level what happens when somebody like finds Kadence and then they buy Pro and then they start interacting with the Kadence support team. What is that experience like to them?
What's it like to them?
Well, what's it like from your perspective? Yeah.
I think we do offer different support than what most people do. And I hate to be like we're better, but we really do take time to engage with our customers. And so I think that's what people are kind of getting. Is that what you're going for? This questions. People are, they're getting more than just here's an answer, but we want to actually help you and be on your team. So they're getting to enter into this Kadence team. A Kadence, maybe a family, if you will. I don't know. It sounds a little bit intimate, but we really have kind of seen it that way. There are people that I've worked with for probably 8 years now that feel a lot more than just like a customer. But
yeah.
We do. Support it's a really big deal for us. It always has been. And that probably is why I'm more of a face. It's not because I build products, because I don't, but I've spent a lot of time working with customers and just really, really trying to get people's sites looking as they want. And so that comes with premium support, and also free support. We do support our free products, which is honestly probably a huge key to our success, is that we offered basically premium support for our free products. But you do, with premium, you definitely get quicker support, and you get typically more help. So a lot of times, if you send us a ticket, like email us, then we'll ask for a login. If it's something that we can't just like help you troubleshoot, and we'll actually log into your site and help you troubleshoot from the back end, versus that's something we can't really offer on the WordPress forums, because we're not allowed to get that kind of information on WordPress. So that's like not saying like, hey, everyone send us your logins and we'll build your site for you. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't do that. But like, we really do care. And we really, really do care about helping you get your site looking as you want. And if that means we're logging into the back end and just like looking at your settings, it's so much easier for us to be like, oh yeah, this needs to be changed, versus like this dialogue back and forth trying to figure out what exactly needs to be changed. But yeah, with support, you get a lot more than just somebody answering questions, but you get community and in some way. And especially I think the Facebook group really gives you that too, because we're in there as well. And so that's really what we're trying to create here is a Kadence community. So I'm sure a lot of people who are watching are part of that, which is so awesome. And if you're not, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Great. One quick question about that. What's the best way to quickly get support team access to the back end? What's the procedure that we go through there?
So there is a plugin that makes it so easy. If you Google WordPress plugin login without password, or temp login without password, you can quickly create a temp login and then just copy that link and send that to us. And then we can just click that login, and then you can go and just deactivate it afterwards. So that way we don't have to like get it. You don't have to get our email or password or any of that. It makes it so simple.
Great. Excellent. Awesome. Okay, great. And I know through support and then through the Facebook group, we hear a lot of times people are like, why isn't Kadence doing this yet? Hey, you guys need to do this. Hey, I need, ConvertKit. the cacophony of ConvertKit requests. Ben, what's the best way for someone to request feature? Like if they need a feature, if something's, they're using Kadence, they're all in on the full bundle and everything that Kadence offers, but there's still something that they need. What should they do?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two approaches. One, like certainly you can contact support and say, hey, I'm trying to do this, because generally we're going to go that mile of saying like, well, that's not something that Kadence can do yet, but have you tried this plugin? Like, we're definitely here to help. And if there's something you need, we want to do that. So getting in touch with support, like the other thing too, is like, you don't want to go and assume that Kadence can't do something when it can. And then you find out, so I would say support is generally the best place, but where support will direct you when it's like truly a feature request, like this is going to require something to be built, to be developed. Then in all of our products, we have a like feature request area. So if you go into the product pages, you can look under the help menu and you're going to see feature requests. And there you can go in and add a feature request that's going to get voted on and stuff. And this is one where we get a lot of feedback. We get a ton of feedback there, and we are actively working to increase our dev team to be able to tackle these quicker as we get it, because a lot of people have really brilliant ideas, and we want to develop those things. I think one of the biggest struggles I have every day is who am I going to let down by not working on their thing? Like it's there's just there's always going to be things where we have to say we're going to work on this instead of this because we think this is more important. Getting that feedback from you guys as to what you see as important and what features you want really helps us decide, okay, so that person's not going to get their feature they really want because this one's getting more traction with votes, or this one's becoming, or like this one just seems to be like, whatever. So we're monitoring that. We're actively working to increase that, as well as like road mapping for the future. Okay, as we work towards Kadence blocks, 2.5, what are going to be the key things that we get into this update? Because it's going to be a major release. and we know there's a lot of things that people want. There's a lot of things. I mean, it's, so definitely getting on our website, just posting it on some social thing, it will get lost. It just like if you want to do it, that's fine. But like us being able to see that and get it organized in a place where we're going to be able to develop it, it's just so unlikely. So posting it in our feature request area is really helpful for us.
Great. Okay, cool. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Gilbert, who is part of the support team. He's recently joined the Kadence team, and he is just amazing, really above and beyond in terms of the support he gives. And he's helping out with all sorts of things, including improving our documentation and helping with a lot of the complex things. And he's a good sport and comes and hangs out with us on these live streams. That has been great. So we just want to give him a shout out, and all of our support team, TJ and Carla and everybody who is out there helping everybody on support. I'm missing people, and I should have made a list. I didn't. But you guys are so awesome. And go ahead, Ben.
We have an incredible team that does support, and I'm in there a lot as well. So like you'll even see stuff from me, but I am so grateful to our support team. We have an incredible team of people who really
I am so
you.
grateful. I think I'm the most grateful because for like 6 years I was on support and Ben, but now, and we had one other guy for a couple years as well who was so great. But I'm so grateful we have a full support team, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Isn't it great? And we're hiring another support person because our team is growing, because Kadence is growing, because there's so many, the tsunami of people who are coming into the Kadence ecosystem is amazing. And we want to make sure that, as we grow, obviously we have to scale our teams in order to scale be of service to the community. So we are hiring. If you're someone who loves Kadence and loves helping people and wants to be part of a cool team and hear all of Ben's cool stories and some of my embarrassing stories as a part of some of our meetings, hey, join us. We will post a link in the chat, and it'll be down below if you're watching this later. We would love to have an application from you. And hey, maybe we just want to hang out and chat and hear how you love Kadence, because that's like one of my favorite things to do. I talked to a number of affiliates, and we'd like sit there. Isn't it Kadence cool? It's funny because I'm in this job because I love Kadence. There's a lot of different things that I could have done in my career, but I came to this team because I love Kadence, and I feel like this is the future of WordPress. It changed my relationship with Gutenberg, and I hope it changes yours. And with all of these premium features that exist within this full bundle, if you just got this as a part of the Stellar sale, you are a lucky person. And I hope that this overview kind of gave you an idea of some of the things that you can do with the full bundle. You don't have to install every single plugin, but it's there for you when you need it. And knowing when and how to use the tools in your tool belt is incredibly important. I am certain that I missed so many of the questions in the chat, and I apologize. I was really hoping that this would be much more interactive, and I just need to not drive. I think I'm going to get somebody to drive this and really kind of be high level and making sure that your questions get answered. I really apologize for that, but I think that we've given you at least a high level view. Ben and Hannah, are there any other notes about everything that we've presented that you'd like to highlight?
I think I would just say we have a lot we're doing, and there's going to be a lot more coming. So as you get into it, there will be a lot that we build.
Excellent.
When I think about the roadmap in front of Kadence, I'm like, how can I get there faster? I want to get this stuff out because I think there's some really cool things coming.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. And the job of Hannah and I is going to be make sure that everything that the dev team is doing with Ben and his leadership there, that we are communicating that to you, that we are bringing all of this amazing insight and innovation as fast to you as possible so that you can innovate in your business. So we'll do more of these live streams. You should also listen to our podcast, which is only slightly less stressful than going live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be easy after 2 weeks of this.
Totally. Well, we wanted to do this for you guys, so we hope you got a lot out of it, and we'd love your feedback. If you have any questions, you can hit us up on social. You can hit us up. Well, if you have product-related support or questions, definitely go through support because that's where we can help you the best. But if you just want to say, hey, you can find us on social, or you can just comment down below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we will see you soon.